Good morning everybody, thanks for joining me again. As you can see, up on Dartmoor again at Princetown. As some of you will know, who watch me regularly, you'll see me out on my bike going to locations sometimes. Well, today I'm trying something a bit different. I'm going on a cycle route, one of the gravel routes out west from Princetown to Fogginton Quarry, around King's Tor hopefully. And we'll see what we get with my camera as well. Bit of a scouting trip. It's overcast with a bit of breaks in the cloud. So I'm hoping for some dramatic landscape shots. But let's see what we'll get. And maybe as I go round, I might explain a bit more about the bike for those that are interested, and maybe a bit more about the gravel route. Okay. Well, this is just the start of the route. It's a bit gravelly, and this mountain bike's ideal for this. Right, it's a good start. Lots of bird life around, and some lovely dramatic scenery. I could stop every 5 minutes. But the plan is, let's go to the Quarry first, and then King's Tor, and then on the way back maybe make a few more stops. But this is really nice. I'll stop to show you. What great scenery. Well, I've been scouting around for, I don't know, half an hour, and I've found probably 3 or 4 shots that I want to take. This is the first one. As you can see, I'm looking at this, what's left of this window in this building, and King's Tor beyond. And on the back of the camera, I've got it in landscape mode at the moment, because the camera, I can't get it in portrait mode with the mic on the side. So I'll have to take that off. But what I want is a portrait shot with the window on the left, King's Tor on the right in the distance. And I'll try it at f11, and then I might focus stack it as well. Also, I'm exposing for the sky. I want some dramatic sky up there. Okay, let's see what I can make of this one. Well, in the end, this was just a single shot at 16mm and at f11 to get that depth of field, and that was fine. But I also turned it into a black and white photograph, which I much prefer, and I quite like the dramatic sky and the view through the window and King's Tor in the background. Well, this is my next shot. I think this is like a spoil heap from the quarry leading out. Again, King's Tor in the background. I've put a polariser, polarising filter on this time. Makes the sky look a bit more dramatic. I'm going to have to be careful with my shutter speed as well. I've got quite a slow shutter speed, but as you can probably hear, it's quite windy. And what I think is going to happen is I'm going to get, even with a tripod, I'm going to get some camera shake, so I need to be very careful. Maybe wait for the wind to die down when I take the photographs. I'm going to try this in both landscape and portrait, and let's see what we get. Well, with this first shot, I managed to get away with 1/25 of a second at 16mm and ISO 100. And as you can see at f11, gave me a good depth of field. And I like the way the spoil heap leads into the distance. And the same with this portrait shot. At 1/10 of a second I was okay, and it gave me this dramatic sky. Well, the next shot what I get is of this field system just here. But boy is it windy just here. Hopefully you can hear this. That's better. Let me just move around so the mic's a little bit more sheltered from the wind. So I'm going to get this field system behind me and then move up onto high ground so I can look down on this ruin with King's Tor behind it. Okay. We're just getting a little bit more light now. Let me turn the camera around. If you can see, there's some light in the distance going across the moor, so that's what I'm hoping to get. Well, I would have liked a little bit more contrast in this picture just to accentuate those walls leading into the distance, but I still like this. Maybe a bit more practice. Well, it's still very windy. As I said, I've come up onto some high ground behind the ruins, and you can see the ruined building and then the spoil tip going out to the right. King's Tor in the background. And all I'm going to do now is wait for some nice light and some different conditions. Let's see how that goes. Well, this is one of those situations where patience really pays off. Just have to wait for the light to be in the right place. I like this shot because it highlights King's Tor with the darkness in the background. Same with this one. And in portrait mode, you can make more of a feature of the ruins. Some nice light on the ruins, some nice light on King's Tor in the background, with those dark patches in between. Really nice. And this is the same shot, just in black and white. And in post-processing, of course, you can play a little bit around with the light and shade. And this was what I ended up with. Well, just before I leave the quarry, I'll just show you inside where there's this lake. I've just had to bring myself out of the sun. It's quite bright. Quite a few people camping overnight here, but it's a nice sheltered spot, so I don't blame them. Right, let's get back on the bike and go around King's Tor. Well, let's see what else we can find. I'll get back on the bike and I'm heading all the way around King's Tor over there, and I could spend hours here, but let's move on and see what else I can find, as this is only a scouting mission, but conditions are really good. Well, I've stopped again, not come far from the quarry, it's just behind you, but there's a lone tree just on the top of that hill, and with these lovely grasses in front of it, it's got to be the shot to take. Telephoto lens, wait for the light to be just right, it's got to look good. I'll show you it now. Well, the light conditions were really in my favour. As you can see, the contrast between the tree, the dark sky and the bright colours in the grass were just perfect. And in black and white it looks even better. And as a bonus, there were these 3 rocks leading up to the tree as a leading line. Really happy with this photograph. I'll try and film something as I go along, but this is, although it's an old railway track, quite bumpy, quite a lot of loose stones. So I think if you were on a gravel bike, just watch the rocks. If you're on a gravel bike, then a little bit of experience is needed. On a mountain bike like this, as long as you keep both hands on the handlebars, I think you're okay. but trying to film at the same time, a little bit dodgy. Well, I've stopped once again. This time I've found these carved stones. Apparently they were carved for the old London Bridge, but here they sit still up on Dartmoor. So with this scenery around, let's see if I can get a decent shot of these. So rather than use a tripod, I think I'm just going to try handheld and see what I can get. Well, in the end, I did get the tripod out, just taking a picture of these two blocks with the moorland behind. I just think the contrast will look good. And I want to focus stack it, so that's why the tripod. Excellent, let's see what that looks like. So in the end, this was two images merged together. One for these stones in the foreground because they are very close, and one for the trees on the horizon. But then I took this shot. This is just a single shot at f11. I've made sure that the stone in the foreground is really sharp, but wasn't too worried about the trees in the background. But I love the way the stone follows the curve of the moor. And this last one is just a documentary shot, just for future reference, and just to show you how these stones are just lined up by the side of the path. Well, before we move on, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about the bike I'm using and how I found the this railway track if you're coming here and you want to visit. So let's start with the bike. So it's a GT Avalanche 2021. It's got a 1x12 SRAM gear on it, and the WTB saddle. It's got Shimano disc brakes and RockShox on the front. Obviously disc brakes, and I've gone for the black and orange theme using these Mucky Nuts mud guards. As for the trail, I found it relatively easy. This one up to this quarry is grassed over a little bit and quite firm. The main track that you can see running just along there, that's the old railway line, and in some parts it's a little bit rough. There's plenty of loose gravel on it. You do have to be careful. Obviously, as you saw, I was cycling along with one hand holding the camera, so not the best idea, but if you've got a good quality bike, this is an easy trail. And I haven't really come that far. Actual cycling, I've probably only cycled about 15 minutes. So yeah, I can definitely recommend this track. I'm about halfway through the planned route I had today, so I'm going to carry on and see what other shots I can get. definitely a photograph here somewhere with this bridge and the tor behind, but I can't get high enough to look down on it and get a nice composition. One for another day maybe. Well, not at all. I'm sure I could get something, so I got low down instead, and along the track this is a nice shot with the bridge and the moorland behind, just showing you what the tracks are like. And then just zoomed in a little bit on the bridge itself. It just seems strange, sat out in the moor in the middle of nowhere, and I quite like the textures in this bridge. Well, I think I've come as far as I'm going to today. I've just come past Ingra Tor, and then I think this is Leiden Tor behind me. But I'm leaving behind those high peaks and losing that dramatic scenery that I wanted to film. I'll just show you where I'm heading. So if I kept going, there's more sort of farmland, and the track sort of winds its way around that hill over there. So I'll head back and see what photographs I can get on the way back. Well, hopefully you can hear me okay in this wind. This is the last shot I think I'm going to take today. It's quite windy, hopefully you can still hear me. There's the track that I just came back along, and the bridge I was trying to take a photograph of. All I've got to do now is wait for some light across the moor there. So I'll set the shot up and then just wait and see what happens. Okay, I think I'm going to call it a day. Had a good morning, enjoyed that cycle, and found some great images. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing more of this sort of stuff. And give me a thumbs up. But for now, cheerio.